I always thought trust was the foundation of a marriage, but that foundation can crumble in an instant. And sometimes it's the smallest things, like a neighbor's security camera that reveal the truth you never wanted to see. It started as a simple favor. Mr. Thompson, our elderly neighbor, had been having trouble with his porch camera. He's a sweet old man, always waving at us when we pulled into the driveway. When he asked if I could take a look, I didn't think twice. Clara was out running errands, or so she said. I grabbed my toolbox and headed next door. Mr. Thompson showed me the camera setup, and it didn't take long to figure out the issue, a loose wire. I fixed it, and he insisted on testing the footage to make sure it worked. That's when I saw her. Claire and I had been married for 8 years. We met at a friend's wedding, and from the moment I saw her, I knew she was the one. She had this way of making everyone around her feel special, like they were the only person in the room. When she said yes to marrying me, I felt like I'd won the lottery. But lately, things had been different. She'd been distant, spending more time on her phone, staying late at work, and making excuses to go out alone. I told myself it was just stress. She'd been working long hours, and I didn't want to add to her burden. Looking back, I should have trusted my gut. As Mr. Thompson and I reviewed the camera footage, I froze. There she was, Clara, walking up to his front door with a man I didn't recognize. She looked over her shoulder like she was checking to make sure no one was watching, and then she disappeared inside. My heart sank. Mr. Thompson must have noticed the look on my face because he asked, "Everything all right, John?" I forced a smile and said, "Yeah, just thought I saw something," but I couldn't stop thinking about it. Why was Clara going into Mr. Thompson's house? And who was that man? I waited until Mr. Thompson went inside, and then I pulled up the camera footage on my phone. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through the recordings. There it was again, Clara and the man walking into the house together. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to confront her right then and there, but another part of me was terrified of what I might find out. I decided to wait. That night, Clara came home like nothing was wrong. She kissed me on the cheek and asked how my day was. I wanted to scream. "How do you think my day was? I saw you sneaking into our neighbor's house with another man." But I didn't. I just said, "It was fine." The next day, I called in sick to work. I needed answers. I waited until Clara left for her errands, and then I went back to Mr. Thompson's house. The door was unlocked. I stepped inside, my heart pounding in my chest. The house was quiet, but I could hear voices coming from the living room. I crept closer, my stomach in knots. And then I saw them. Clara was sitting on the couch with the same man from the camera footage. They were laughing, talking like old friends. But it wasn't just that. There were papers spread out on the coffee table, blueprints, contracts, and what looked like a real estate agreement. I stepped into the room, and Clara's face went pale. "John, what are you doing here?" I didn't answer. I just pointed to the papers and said, "What is this?" She hesitated, then sighed. "It's not what you think." "Then explain it to me," I said, my voice shaking. She told me everything. The man was a real estate agent. Mr. Thompson was selling his house, and Clara had been helping him with the paperwork. She didn't want me to know because she was afraid I'd be upset. "Upset about what?" I asked. "Because we're buying the house," she said. I couldn't believe it. "We're buying the house? Why?" She looked down at her hands. "I thought it would be a surprise, a fresh start for us. But I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know what to say. Part of me was relieved. It wasn't what I thought. But another part of me was angry. Why had she kept it a secret? Why had she lied? We talked for hours that night. Claire apologized for not being honest with me, and I apologized for jumping to conclusions. It wasn't easy, but we worked through it. If you're watching this, don't let fear and doubt control you. Communication is the key to any relationship. If something feels off, talk about it. Don't let secrets and assumptions tear you apart. And remember, sometimes the truth isn't what you expect.